Coming up on Chicago Bears Now, could Chicago sign Jadeveon Clowney? A new rumor out there about that. A sleeper trade target being proposed from Pro Football Focus. We'll break down that name. And could Elijah Hicks take a year-two leap in this Bears secondary? All that and more is coming up on Bears Now by Chat Sports. But first, our July subscriber battle continues. We're kind of putting the Cowboys report in the dirt, I'm not going to lie, but got to keep that up. Subscribe for daily Chicago Bears news, rumors, updates, training camp coverage for once that gets here. It's 100% free. Let's beat the Dallas Cowboys report and Tom Downey and more new subscribers in the month of July. Today's episode of Chicago Bears Now is sponsored by Hexclad. Upgrade your kitchen utensils and cookware with Hexclad and get 10% off with promo code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat. Okay, let's start today's show with Jadeveon Clowney. Could he end up with the Chicago Bears? Rick Spielman, former NFL GM who's now doing some work with the 33rd team, floated this idea and mentioned the Bears as a possibility. He said, quote, "A long shot because I don't know if Clowney fits how they're building their team is the Chicago Bears. General manager Ryan Poles addressed a lot of needs in the draft and in free agency, but the one thing he didn't address was a pass rusher. Could Clowney become a Bear?" He floats. Well, you look at last year, and we've obviously talked about Clowney a few times. While his sack production was kind of limited, his grades per Pro Football Focus were pretty good. His overall grade was solid, 76. Run defense, he's always a good run defender. Pass rush at 70 is pretty solid. Had 29 pressures. He just didn't finish a lot of those plays. Someone else did. Only 2 sacks this past year when you look at his last 4 seasons. But again, sacks don't always tell the full story. Like Yannick Ngakoue is always a high sack guy, but his pressure rate last year actually wasn't super high. Now, I think there's something to be said for guys who finish plays, and I would much rather Jadeveon Clowney be a guy that gives you 9 or 10 sacks. He gave you 9 in 2021. But either way, we know that he's a solid football player. He's been that throughout his career. Has he ever been a guy living up to the number 1 overall pick? No, but he is a good player. And look, those are some of the pros as you look at some of the pros and cons with Jadeveon Clowney. He's an excellent run defender year in and year out. That is something you know he brings to the table. He will seal the edge. Fills a position of need. That's been well documented on this channel, and I'm sure on many other blogs and websites and YouTube channels as well. The Bears clearly need another edge. And he's got a lot of experience and has played for a lot of different teams. So he's been able to be productive in different spots. Now, cons with Jadeveon Clowney. Well, ugly ending with the Browns last year. Do the Bears want to bring that into their locker room? I think that's a fair question to ask. He's getting older. Is he motivated? It's hard to know. And the pass rushing is inconsistent. It kind of comes and goes with Jadeveon Clowney. So some pros and cons when it comes to the veteran edge rusher. Now, I'll let you guys decide. Weigh in on today's show. Should the Bears sign Jadeveon Clowney? Type S for sign, or you can type P for pass. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, S for sign or P for pass. When it comes to Jadeveon Clowney and the possibility of him becoming a Chicago Bear, I would take the chance if I was Bears GM Ryan Poles. Jadeveon Clowney on a 1-year deal, I think is worthwhile. You've still got a lot of cap space if you are Ryan Poles in Chicago, the most in the NFL, and you have a clear need at edge rusher. I get the ending the split with Cleveland last year. That can be a bit of a red flag. I get he's bounced around, and there's probably a multitude of reasons for that. I know he doesn't always have high sack production, but he's an excellent run defender. He's played in multiple schemes. He's proven he's a bit scheme-proof, and he still gets pressures, even if his sack numbers aren't always high. It's not like the Bears have a loaded group at that defensive end position. Chicago, I would sign Jadeveon Clowney. Today's show is sponsored by Hexclad. I mentioned upgrade your kitchenware, guys, with Hexclad, as they're going to help you do that. Hexclad.com/chat, promo code chat, to get 10% off, because it's time to talk about your kitchens. They have revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of non-stick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty. Just in case you find a way to destroy them, use code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat for 10% off. They truly check every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They're metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and even safe up to 500 degrees. Don't just take my word for it, by the way. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay Just an awesome celebrity chef, by the way. Huge fan of all the shows he's been on. Here's what he has to say about Hexclad. The sear I can get with these pants is incredible with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home. That's straight from Gordon Ramsay's mouth. And guys, they're also the sexiest pans on the market. Score points at home in your kitchen. Stop ordering takeout and start cooking like a big boy with Hexclad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave. It's cooked with Hexclad. So for a limited time, only get to 10% off with code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat. I mean, look how clean these look. It just feels like you hold this and you're like, this is a solid pan. Like, I might go sear a steak tonight with my Hexclad. Producer Coop is shaking his head like, let's do it. Party at the Graham's house. Let's get it. Hexclad.com/chat, code CHAT, get 10% off. Okay, let's stick with the edge theme here. Could Chicago trade for Bryce Huff? Pro Football Focus proposed the Jets' edge as a Chicago trade target. Full disclosure, I had heard of Bryce Huff, but that's kind of the extent of my knowledge of him until I looked into him a little bit more this morning when I was reading this article. Here's Brad Spielberger, cap expert, has some ties to Chicago as well. He said that the Bears made several free agent additions on the edge that should be solid against the run on early downs, but don't project to offer much juice to get after opposing quarterbacks. Huff is an assassin on passing downs where he's been deployed in a limited role. His 25.6% pass rush rate in 2022 was the top mark in the NFL, about more than 3 percentage points among edge rushers with at least 100 pass rush snaps. Now, that's pretty interesting. Like, best in the NFL. Now, he only played 189 total snaps. 173 of those were passing down. So he was clearly, like Spielberger said, just a situational pass rusher. So he wasn't a full-time starter. But you look at these grades. I get it's a limited sample size, but 90 overall grade, pass rush of 88. Even in the run defense, I get it. He only played, 15, 20 snaps, but held his own there in a very small sample size. I mean, I kind of look at this guy. I started watching some of his highlights from last year. Like, does he have untapped potential? Like, is he just buried on a good Jets defense and could use a new opportunity to flourish? It's hard to say for sure, right? I mean, he's playing next to a guy like Quentin Williams. That certainly helps. But I'm intrigued by this idea, especially if the Bears want to go with like a younger value type of trade, right? Where you're not breaking the bank or taking a massive risk with someone like Chase Young. That's a couple of reasons why he's intriguing. Number one, he's only 25 years old. He's got pass rush upside. He proved that last year, maximizing his snaps that he did get. And he shouldn't cost a ton in a trade. I mean, 5th, 6th round pick or something like that. His contract is cheap. So I'm intrigued by this idea. I think Spielberger did a good job digging deep here when trying to find a potential fit for the Chicago Bears. And he's kind of fitting what Flus and Poles are trying to do, right? Where young, athletic, upside, someone you can help build with on this roster. So I would be interested in this if Chicago wanted to go this route. Now, do you want the Bears to add an edge? Spam the comments and type me. If you don't, I don't know what you're waiting for, because whether it's a big name, whether it's an under-the-radar name like Bryce Huff, you need guys who can go get the quarterback. So spam me in the comments right now if you want Chicago to add an edge rusher. One more story here. Elijah Hicks, is he going to take a leap here in year 2? Bleacher Report mentioned that Hicks could be a player who breaks out in 2023 after having mostly just a special teams role last season. Now, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, reports out of OTAs and minicamp were that Hicks struggled a bit in coverage. I mean, he was a guy that Justin Fields targeted when he was out there. Got a lot of opportunities because Eddie Jackson missed a lot of camp as he was still recovering from injury before he got healthy later on. So he was out there quite a bit. But the opportunity is there for Elijah Hicks. Number one, he proved last year he can be a good special teamer, so he's got that going for him. And two, the number 3 safety spot is up for grabs. Unless Chicago re-signs DeAndre Houston-Carson, which they have not up to this point, Elijah Hicks and Kendall Williamson, those are kind of your 2 options, I think, to compete for that number 3 safety job. They might both make the team, but if you're the number 3 safety, I mean, you're going to see the field some, and obviously if someone gets hurt, you're the next person in line. So opportunity there for Elijah Hicks, and I think that's going to be the word, the theme of training camp is opportunity. A lot of chances to go out there and compete and go earn some playing time. Who's going to be that number 3 safety, Bears fans? What do you think? Type EH for Elijah Hicks. Type KH for Kendall Williamson, the rookie 7th rounder out of Stanford, or the 7th rounder from last year out of Cal, ironically enough, big college rivals, in Elijah Hicks. Okay, that's it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Now. Go check out HexClad. I'm telling you, these pans and pots, all kinds of stuff they have over there. Go check them out. Subscribe to the channel as well. We will be back tomorrow with another episode of Bears Now.